Hello, hello there, Outliers. Niiamah Ashong here, and thank you so much for letting me and us be a part of your journey here today. We have an incredible outlier who is on the roundtable with us. It is Brittany Johnson. Brittany, thank you so much for coming in here. Thank you for bringing your energy, your experience over to the roundtable. I'm glad that you're here.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm excited to play. And
Yes,
talking
let's
about
do
play,
this.
yeah. Let's talk about playing. Let's see. Tell us more about you and the game you're currently playing.
Yeah, my name is Brittany A. Johnson. I am by profession, and by gift, I am a licensed mental health counselor. I am a trauma expert. I teach trauma therapists how to be better trauma therapists. That is what I do by day. Um, But in addition to that, I am also a wife and a mother, and a friend and a sister, and someone who loves to play the game of life in my own way. So that's what I'm doing. That's the game I'm playing. Right now, the game I'm playing is the build and balance game. Let's build, but let's also keep the balance because I know firsthand what it looks like if you just build and you don't have the balance. I've done that a few times in my life, and have the body wounds, so to speak, to tell about it. So that's the game I'm currently playing.
Hmm. So all right, so let's see. You say build and balance here. Like the thing that comes to my
Yeah.
mind is like, all right, um, what I wasn't expecting was like and the body wounds to come along with it, right? And so when I
Hmm.
heard that, it took my mind to like physically. I'm like, oh, she's like physically building, or is this like when you say build, what do you mean? And then we'll get into what do you mean by balance too.
Yeah. So the building is that, you've already reached, you had your, I'm going to start at the very bottom, right? So you had your first five-figure month, and then you had your first six-figure, I mean, year. You had your first five-figure year, then you had your six-figure year or month. Maybe that's where you are. And so you've been building your business. And along that, you put everything you have internally and sometimes physically into building that. So you've got sleepless nights, you've got the running on fast food diet, you've got being in and out of hotels or in and out of Airbnbs or what have you, because you are trying to build, but you're not doing anything to add the balance in, meaning you're not doing anything to actually take care of your mental and physical health, but you're not pouring back into yourself. So that's what that build and balance looks like. So you're just building and you build, 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 build. And then I'm sure you've heard and met people on this show who've talked about they hit a certain threshold and they looked around and they were miserable. They had the money in the bank that they wanted. They had the lifestyle, so they had the house, they had the cars, they had all the things they wanted, but they were empty on the inside, or they were perpetually exhausted and just couldn't figure it out. And then they end up walking away from it all. And they talk about how happy they are now that they have nothing. Air quote nothing. We're going to air quote that because they have something. But then they talk about this peace of mind and this freedom that comes with not having all the other stuff. So that's that build and the balance. You have to have the balance as you build. Otherwise, you will be one of those people whose story, comma, is I built it all and then I burned it down in front of me or walked away from it.
Yeah, that's like I'm really glad you bring that in because like underneath a lot of what we do here, like I talk to world changers. It's been
Hmm.
a new thing for me to just like own it again. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
just
it is
own
just
it.
what happens. Yeah, it's just like through every conversation we have, it's about changing the world. And part of the reason why I have these conversations is that I want to help people to be able to unlock the impact in a way that's actually sustainable, right? And to make
Hmm.
sure that they actually stay in the game. So I spend a lot of my
Yep.
time working with people on like their business models and like how does it all come together and how do they unleash themselves out into the world. But
Yes.
as you talk about this here, I'm like, oh, this is another part. This like if you build something that doesn't work for you, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Physically emotionally,
Psychologically,
psychologically, yeah.
emotionally,
Yeah, all of the Elise, right?
all of the elites.
Right. If you build something that doesn't work for you, then it can't be sustainable, and then you get out
Hmm.
of the game. And my biggest thing
Yeah.
is I'm like, how do we keep you in the game? You
Yeah.
know?
Or you stay stuck at the level you are, and then you find yourself on the double side of it of like, now I'm burning out because I'm not living my purpose. And I can't live my purpose because I don't have anything left in the tank to do it.
Yeah, no, this is when you say that that hits me like really really real. Like for me the it became a financial not anything left in the tank, you know.
Hmm.
And it was
Yeah.
like it's like I can go out there and give out in the world and I have so much to do, but I didn't
Hmm.
take care of my bank account. And
Yeah.
as a result of this, you're like, I can't give. I
Right.
can't do what I'm here to do anymore.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
You talk about this, and when I hear you talk, I'm like, you sound like someone who hasn't just like didn't just like read this somewhere. Like you sound like
Oh
this is coming
no.
from a place of experience. Well, tell us a little bit about it for you. How does this
Yeah.
impact you?
So it's experience, but it's also um I am a studier of life. I am a studier of things. So it was reading, but before it was reading, I went and started reading because I was experiencing. And so I have built my career um, before social media was a big thing. So I was earlier in the world of building when you had to kind of rely on literally going into people's businesses and introducing yourself and doing those things. And so I actually will be transparent that I struggled with the online piece and still in a lot of ways do. Of like, I'm just still used to going and meeting someone face to face, which when you do that, you grow, but you only stay in your little region at that point, right? So I have built, and then remember the first time I tried to start doing everything online. And I was not taking in the account of um, the comments back or the criticisms that come like most people when you first start out, right, you're going to get criticisms. And so I didn't have things built in place for that. I also didn't have things built in place to say this is when my workday ends. And so I found myself being a person that was working from the moment I opened my eyes until the moment I closed them. I was doing something for my business or my family because I knew I didn't want my family to suffer. But that just meant I was doing double duty all the time. And so I started experiencing what we now call burnout. Back then, we just kind of called it secondary trauma or um, oh goodness, there's a term we used to call it where it's basically like helper's fatigue or helper's exhaustion. And so I started reading about it and researching it and talking to more people. And then I was like, oh, there's a thing, there's a name for this. There's a category in therapy for this. And so then I started building it into my individual one-on-one clients to make sure that they were also doing that, no matter what level they were at life. Making sure they were adding in how do you recharge and refuel yourself on a daily basis, not just waiting for those vacations. And so that's how this has kind of been birthed. And then through the last 2 years, really been amping up to make sure that I'm making that louder than even what we do in terms of mental health work for like depression or anxiety. I'm building more into how are you recharging and refueling yourself every day.
Brittany, I appreciate this year. I think that I think I've become a person that's like, uh, how do I say it? To this point, like the constant and consistent energy, versus
Uh-huh.
full depletion. And then hopefully you get something in there. It's like I have a car and I can recognize when I'm like, oh, this car needs gas just because
Right?
it just drives different.
Right.
I'm like, why is it struggling? Oh, it's because I haven't fed it. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think about myself when I'm hungry, like I can
Yeah.
move, but
Right.
like I tell you, life is a lot better when like I'm sufficiently resourced.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so the same thing needs to happen for your emotional self.
Hmm.
And the emotional self, really, I will stand toe to toe that the emotional self will always outperform or underperform even what you physically can do.
I think that's really it. I think that's really it. I'm glad we're bringing this in because it's uh there's a component about this where it's like I'm always like, how do you stay in the game? How do you
Hmm.
stay in the game? And things like burnout, like it takes you out,
Yeah, yeah.
when
If
it
you're not
hit,
careful.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. So let me ask you here, like what was really interesting to me, and I think that you said something that I thought was really fun, which is I got a sense as to like the amount of like of what you were doing and how much work you were doing when you said like, so I just started out and I didn't have like the infrastructure, I didn't have like something in place for like the hate that was coming in, roughly
Yeah.
speaking, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And what got me was I was like, Brittany was doing something right because a lot of us will go out there and we'll put something there and we don't even hear anything at all. Right.
Mm,
So I'm like, all right. So clearly she knows what she's doing because she's getting responses on things. And it's not to be polarizing. It's actually just to be
right.
out in the world. And when
Yeah.
you're out in the world, you encounter people who have their beliefs.
Yes. Yes.
So tell me here, because right before you said that, you're like, yeah, I wasn't even good at this online thing, right? And I was like, I think you were doing better than you were laying
I think
out.
I was doing better than I thought, but
Yeah,
oof.
yeah. So like, what would you say has like now? How have you changed your business and your approach to business? Um, and when I'm looking at this here, it's not just the mindset changes that have come
Mhm.
along, but what are some things that like you actually changed in your business that like most other people will be like, that couldn't work, or like that's not how you do it, or whatever it is that you're like, hey, this is
Yeah,
what I needed to do for me to make this to bring the balance with me as I'm building.
I think being authentic, and I know that sounds cliche, but as I said, I'm a therapist first. So when you Google my name, that is what is going to come up first is a therapist in the area that I'm in. And when I went to graduate school to be a therapist, it was in the time where our code of ethics and everything we were taught was about you do not put yourself out there in that way. You don't interact with people. If clients ask you anything about yourself, you're just supposed to be a mirror. And literally taught us this phrase of basically asking what it if you were to say, "How are you doing today?" My response was programmed that it was supposed to be, you know, how will that information help you or something to that effect. I don't even remember what it is anymore because I stopped saying it a long time ago. So that was the thing that was the difference maker for me, and which is what got me a lot of pushback was I showed up authentic online from the jump. So if a client followed me, I made sure they have strict conversations about I'm never going to acknowledge you as a client on social media. You won't be on my personal pages, but on these business outward pages, you can be there and I'll interact. So that was what I did. I know again, it sounds like it's not a big deal, but if in the world that was there before coaching and before influencing, which is where I that's the space I was in, that was a big deal. It was a big deal to just show up authentically you, to show up and show like, hey, I'm a therapist, but this is also what I'm doing in my day to day. Like that was a big deal. Now I think it's went far on a different direction that some therapists are just doing the most online with their license and their degrees, but that's just my own opinion. Um,
So this is gonna make me ask two questions if you don't mind, right?
yeah, of
So
course.
the first thing here, there were two the questions. But now I just want to kind of get a sense because I also like to give, I don't know what people call it, but like I want to recognize you when you're like, hey, when I was doing this before it was cool. So like when did like around what time period, like what year was this around when you were like in this space here working through this?
2016,
Yeah, yeah.
2015, twenty
Yeah,
sixteen.
yeah,
That
right. So,
era.
yep. So
Yeah,
I like looking at this here because like it's not like at the time of this recording it was like 10 years ago, y'all. Right, but there's something in there where it's like this thing had matured very quickly,
very
right?
quickly.
Very
Yes.
quickly, right?
Yes. Yes.
And so I'd like to look at this here from the standpoint of like, all right, like I I like to think about what did it take for the person to get in front of me right now? Like 10 years ago, y'all, like I had just started podcasting, like 10, 11 years ago right now. So
Yeah.
I'm looking at this, I'm like, yeah, there's a lot that can happen in a decade. But it's like, what did it
Yes.
take for you to be here, right? Because you were choosing to move into the online space and like bridge this gap in a way at a time where like social media was actually social. Like people were just like, hey,
Right.
this,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
um
Which is so ironic to see it now, but that's a different.
it's a different element, but like, but I think about this as you're talking here, Brittany, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, like you showed up before it was cool, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm.
Tell me a little bit here about that for you, like, because you talk about like the authenticity, and the
Hmm.
authenticity part, like it really jazzes me up.
Yeah.
But most people don't understand the cost of authenticity, you know.
Yes.
And so, like, I'd love to hear you like speak a little bit about that, like, especially being out in this space as you were.
Yeah. So the biggest thing is that it was considered unprofessional in my profession to be open about who I was, what I was doing outside of my therapy office, the tips I was providing for free online. Like that was considered just unprofessional. And so what we now are all calling authenticity, I was labeled problematic. I was labeled unprofessional, uneducated, all of the uns. If you can find
Mm.
an there was un and then that. But on the flip side, and equally, there were people who were really excited and who have told me that I was the blueprint for them to get their business online as opposed to just being. And I was looking for a while we're talking to show you like how far, because I still have it on my desk somewhere. The marketing cards I used to leave in people's mailboxes. And then when I had to switch online and like you no longer need those, right? You know this from 10 plus years ago. You had to walk around and send letters out and send emails out and well, it wasn't even emails, it was just letters in the mail, good old snail mail. And so I think if I answered your question, it was more so of that it was just considered unprofessional. It was considered unbecoming.
This
Um,
is yeah, this is the like the place here, like if you're cool, like slow down in this space here where
yeah.
because you brought up authenticity and I have a practice of like when it happens, like
Uh-huh.
it's not like, young kids on the beach be like, I'm just living my authentic life. I'm like
Right.
that's not what authenticity tends like not the people who are really there,
Yeah.
like it is they've paid the price, they've made an investment and they've gotten the return on the other side of it, right?
Hmm.
But like, and so Outliers, I'm gonna make sure I'm calling this out here. Like, if you are asking yourself, like, if you're doing something and you're getting pushback on it, right? It
Hmm.
might be because you're actually being in alignment with yourself. Now, Brittany,
Yes.
it ended up being like the tide came along with social media
Right.
and beyond, right? But it also could have gone in a different way. But what I hear from there is like the authenticity to me, like, oh, this is what it is. It's like you have to be in a place where the authenticity gets a chance to be tested,
Yes.
right? And you
Yes.
and you chose like you ended up passing the test. You ended up staying the course here. You're like, you can call me what you call me, right? But I'm still staying in alignment with me on this here,
Hmm.
right?
And I think if we think about the cost of it, I think at the time when I'm looking back at it in this space that you and I are in right here, when I'm looking back, I I would stand and say I didn't have a choice but to do that
Hmm.
because I was trying to do what I saw others doing because there wasn't anyone in my area doing it. And so I had to start looking outside of my area. And the people that were doing it were not other therapists, it was just other businesses. And so I was like, well, let me see if I can just mimic this. And it didn't feel good. And when I say it didn't feel good, I mean literally, if I'm going to give you physical symptoms, I would be nauseous. I would be very anxious. There was one time that I was just sitting there. It sounds so dramatic when I say it now, but
Bring the drama. We're good.
I I was like sweating. Like I had like I had really been running somewhere. I was in full sweat.
Yeah.
But when I had to sit with, okay, wait, what is this? If a client was sitting in front of me with these same exact symptoms, what would I say they were experiencing? And it was panic. And when I had to, what one of the things that I do with my type of therapy is I dig down to the root. I am a true believer that if you don't clear out the root, you're just it's just cosmetic, right? So when I had to go down to the root, I realized it's because I wasn't being myself. I was trying to do what I saw others doing that was successful for them, but I physically and emotionally and mentally just couldn't do it anymore. So I would go on a limb and say I didn't have a choice but to be authentic. And I just had to deal with if this doesn't work, it just doesn't work. And there was another part of me, a voice inside that said, you can always do something different if this doesn't work. This isn't your be all end all. And so I would say that to anyone listening, find that voice that says, if all this goes to crap, I can do something else. This isn't my only skill set. And even if it is my only skill set, 90% of our skills are transferable to something else. I just have to take a moment to figure out where else is transferable. So I think that also was what, if I'm shifting this a little bit, that's what I think happened was I realized I couldn't follow what other people were doing because it wasn't working for me. Um, and I knew that if this didn't work, I would just go do something else with my same skills.
This is spoken like a true outlier, right? Because like the number of people I talk to that have like you ask them like, oh, tell me about your past, your career. They're like this, comma, this, comma, this, comma, this, comma, this, like this, then this, then this, then this. And none of them like they don't add up, but it makes perfect sense when you talk to me like, okay, I get why you have all these skills. I get why you see
Right.
the world the way that you do, right?
Right.
Or they're very hyphenated, like
Yes.
I'm this combination of all these things. Why? Because
Yeah.
it's like could we got the goods to be able to you know how to learn, you know how to apply, you know how to make
Hmm.
things come in, and there's things in. I'm staying on the authenticity route here just because I'm thinking about any
Yes.
outlier
Yeah.
out there that right now is like asking themselves and like, hey, like
Yeah.
see it, right? You had a physical reaction, right? This is what I talk
I
about.
think everybody has a physical reaction. You just have to be still enough to know.
This
So I'm
is
gonna
it.
put it on you. What was yours?
Oh,
what's your reaction when you're not being authentic?
I don't like the I think it's really more that I found myself in my authenticity like journey, right? So like when I realized what was available for me
Hmm.
and who I was being, like I had to go I would have a thing where my body would tense,
Yep.
my eyes like would like flicker a bit,
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
and the words would just start falling out of my mouth, right?
Yes.
So yeah, so Brittany, there
Yeah.
was the during this part for me, I would keep going on live videos,
Hmm.
and because I'm like okay, ooh, like literally I'll be in conversation with someone, and
Yeah.
I would feel that thing of like I'm not supposed to say this right now, and then I would just be like okay, gonna go live and be like, hey y'all, I'm here again. And the reason I'm here is because I'm feeling I'm not supposed to say it, so I'm gonna say it to everyone, you
Yeah.
know. Uh,
I love it.
oh yeah, no, and
Yes.
I'm grateful for it because like there's videos of me. I used to live out in Singapore. There's videos of me walking like along the Singapore River, and it's just like I'm just like. "Ah, shouldn't say this, so I gotta
Yeah.
say it, because I wanted to free myself. Like I'm a
Yes.
recovering people pleaser. I'm like,
Oh, goodness.
yeah, yeah,
I'm glad you're in recovery.
yeah. You know what I'm saying?
It's a daily walk.
I talked to someone who said I'm a recovered. I was like, you can be done,
Yes.
but there's a component of it like that was really real for me. That was really
Hmm.
where
Hmm.
I found it. Like, really, it's so funny because I had a business that was like it was all about being your authentic self, be authentically you, be more you.
Yes.
The business was niiamahashong.com, right? And I didn't
Yeah.
realize that like I was walking around with a nickname that felt like me, but it wasn't actually me. Like it was
Hmm.
like that deep. I was like, go be authentic. Trust me, I'm Nemo. Like there's something in there that like that just to dismiss. So I
Yeah.
I want to give space and time to this year because I just think that I think that there's a level of ownership that comes along
Mhm.
with yourself along here.
Yes.
I really
And
want to acknowledge you in it.
if you want to stop people pleasing, if you want to be you can't be a people pleaser and be authentic at the same time. There is absolutely no way that can happen. So if people to anyone listening, that's your first telltale sign. If you are people pleasing more than you are being your authentic and being and honoring yourself, you're not there yet. The
Yeah,
other thing is to really pay attention to what your brain and body are saying. So for me, it was the sweats, right? For you, it was
it is
that thing. Oh,
first.
I'm not supposed
Yeah.
to say this. The
Yep.
stuttering, the words getting jumbled. So take a minute, and it doesn't have to be a long minute. It can be a literal minute. Just take a minute and notice what happens just before I shut myself down, because that's normally what it is. We if you were a people pleaser, you probably have years of experience. You could probably write 10 plus books and do hours of podcasting on all of the ways that you shut yourself down and all the things that you had to do to stay shut down, because it's not just a one-time thing.
There we go. I think that's
I
it.
saw-
I think that's it. No, I think that I look at them
yeah,
like, yeah, no, that's
yeah.
it. And you know what really happened, Brittany, is that I have two young kids, and so now this shows up for me as a parent, and I'm like, okay, in
Hmm.
what ways am I accidentally like perpetrating the things that I'm working on right now, right? And so as you
Oh
started
man.
talking, that's what it took me to. It took me
Uh-huh.
down to like, okay, all right, how did I handle that conversation?
Yeah.
What ways am I installing this accidentally? Where am I creating opportunities or creating places where like shutting down is taking place because it's easier
Yeah.
for me or that like
Yes.
XYZ. And so
Yeah.
like that's the real thing because like outliers, like we're people, right? I know I
Yes.
talk to you in like your mission oriented self, but like we're humans,
We are
human.
humans first.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we have
Yeah.
to remember that. And I think kind of maybe changing the subject slightly. but when I think about, you asked me earlier where about me and my online and that now, I think that's also where it shows up for me is I forget that sometimes I still forget I'm human first. Actually, I don't forget it. I just go the other direction and kind of shut down. And so I'll pull away from online because now when I get online, it doesn't feel like human first anymore. It feels very much like everything is a funnel. And I actually genuinely miss some of the human connection that happened online prior to all the funnel systems.
Yeah, there's like it's interesting for me because there's a reason why I invite people into my world this way, right?
Hmm.
Because I look at this, I'm like, all right, the business has to go, right? The business
Yes,
has to
you have
move,
to. Hmm.
right? But there's a way to do this, like there's a way to do this that I want to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
I look at it, and I'm like, as much as everyone else is going to, high tech, how quickly can they go high tech? I'm like, how can I go high touch? Like,
Yeah.
I enjoy the conversations. Let's go find ways to go and support and to serve, you know?
Hmm.
And what's been interesting for me is that like I'll talk to different business owners and they're like I'll send them an email, like I reach out to people and you didn't know me before I reached out to you, right?
Right.
And I'll have people come back and they'll be like, so this like, are you trying to sell me something? Like, what's going on here? What I found is that the more upfront I am about it, where it's like, hey, like I don't have to like trick you into a funnel here. It's like, hey,
Yeah.
just so you know, like this is my business. I just like this is a high value lead magnet. It takes a lot of time. I'm gonna put you out in front of my world rather than like
Hmm.
like this is just what I do because this is how
Yeah.
I've decided to run this business here. I
Hmm.
see that like I have found that level of like it's an interesting, I would consider it authentic to me.
Yeah.
I've had to go
I
build a
think it
lot of things
is.
around, but like it comes with its own toll.
It does. And I think I want to applaud you for that because I am a person that because I have lived this authentic journey for so long at this point, which is so weird to say because it's just me being me. But I know
Yeah,
I know that's the
yeah.
that's the
No,
words we need to
claim
use,
it and own it, please, Brittany.
right? Like
Yeah,
that's just what
yeah.
it is. But I appreciate it because people like me, when I see a funnel, I immediately go the other way
Hmm.
because I know that hey, how are you doing? Can I? It's not real.
Hmm.
Right? And
Hmm.
so for me, when someone says, "Here's my business," I am introducing myself for two reasons. One reason, yes, to get to know you, but also before business. That lets me see them in a way that I immediately issue a level of respect that I don't issue to a lot of people.
This is something like it's so weird here, like to me, because it's counterintuitive, right? And I'd love to get your thoughts on this here because I actually think it gets to that part of the inauthenticity, right? Where we wrap ourselves up in knots. And I say this being someone that's like still untangling knots, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Like so I'm not complete with this yet, but I know I'm walking down with intention.
Yeah.
And I'll talk to people and they'll say like you know selling. They're like, oh, I don't want to come off icky,
Hmm.
and so they're like, oh, so I don't want to sell at all. I'm like, that's not it.
Yeah.
It's like what is where is it causing that disconnect? Like, what's the part in here that feels icky to you? Then and how do we like call that out early? How do we make sure that we just don't do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like it's a great service to be able to help people and be able to
Yeah.
make sure that you have the resources coming back to be able to go help more people or to help them at the level that they're actually there to be supported at, you
Yeah.
know?
I still live some parts in ooh, that's icky. I do.
Mhm.
I can't be anything but honest and
Yeah.
transparent. There are still parts of me. Hence why my social media, someone asked me the other day, like, why is your social media not growing? And I was like, I haven't put time into it.
Yeah.
But that's, my goal for October is to focus on that again.
Yeah.
Um, but part of it is icky because there are some people I meet that I genuinely do not want to have a relationship with.
Mhm.
And so for me, I have to switch. There's a switch in my brain I have to turn on and off that says, if I am trying to grow business because I want to help more people, I have to turn this switch off that says I'm not meeting everybody I meet is not for a relationship. Some of it is for just the business relationship. It's not always a personal relationship. And so that I think for a lot of people, when I talk to people who also are like, oh, that funnel system selling is so icky, that's what the general consensus I get is that these are people who are relationship first people.
Mhm.
And when you're a relationship first person, it feels inauthentic to just be meeting someone just to sell to them.
Mhm.
And so it
Mhm.
sounds like you've kind of found a nice balance there of how to do it without not being without with while maintaining being true to yourself too.
I mean, let's. I'm thinking so, but we'll find it, right? It's like. I guess what I'm saying here, what I want to say
Yeah,
is that like it's like I'm still making mistakes on a regular
of
basis
course.
with it,
Of
and
course.
like that feeling of the of my chest getting
Hmm.
stuck, like
Hmm.
wanting to run, right? When someone
Hmm.
asks, like it still shows up. And what I found, and you said like I'm just being honest. I think that like I want to make sure that we're since authenticity is on the play and you just can't help being you, like
Yeah.
that we call out this part. It's like the honesty, I think, really plays it. It's like it's in these
Hmm.
micro moments. I
Yeah.
like the first time of going out in the world and being authentic is like so earth-shatteringly scary, you know? And then every other time it's like I run towards these moments. I'm like, oh, like
Yes.
that's what I'm saying. Like, oh man, I feel it, so I have to go live, you know?
Yes.
Um,
I love that you did that. I actually,
yeah,
can I borrow that for to
please do
teach
this.
somebody else to do?
This is what we like because like that's
Yeah.
it. Because otherwise we're limited, right?
Yes.
You talked about
Yes.
like the work that you do helps people when they're like, especially entrepreneurs, when they're like leveling up. When people go
Hmm.
out and they're like, hey, look, I'm now not playing at the level that I was before. I'm
Yeah.
leveled up, but I'm doing it in the way that I used to, or whatever
Yeah.
it is, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like there's a component here of like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. But
Hmm.
if I don't allow myself to get through this, I can't finish the level up. And
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like it's
Yeah.
uncomfortable because the person I have been wasn't ready for this. And
Yes.
like so the person that I become, they have this in their back pocket. They have this
Yeah.
experience behind them. What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that, Brittany? I wanna just
I think I agree with you. And I think as you were talking, I was thinking about clients that I've worked with and even for myself. I'm one of those people that like I'm gonna test it out on myself too to see like is this real? And then I'm gonna go test it out amongst different circles. But one of the things that I think helps when you're doing that because to there's all those cliche sayings of right like to get to the next level you've got to do things you've never done before, and all those things are true, but I think what tends to happen is people forget to take along pieces of themselves that are what I call your core self. And so you've got to be able to create what's my core self and how do I take that core self, those core activities along with me. And so one of the things that I had a client do who is um probably, I mean, several multimillionaire, right? This is I'm already smelling because it's funny
I
because
see you.
but one of the things that I taught them to do was to make sure they still eat a meal that they ate when they were only making $100 a week. Because eating that meal takes them back to remembering who they are at their core and why they got into this. Because you probably know this just from your own experience in the last 10 years. When you get to certain levels, people expect you to eat certain things, to go to certain places, to do certain things. You still need to have something that's core you. And so, me, no matter what level I'm at, there are still a few, and I'm not going to say I'm on this podcast just because I don't know how that works with branding and things like that. But there are certain things that I am still going to have once a month because that reminds me of the Brittany that couldn't afford anything but a McDonald's Happy Meal for her child
Yeah,
at one point, right? And I
uh,
think that doing that, along with other mental skills, is what people
yeah.
need to do when you level up to keep the balance. You
So
gotta
like
you gotta keep a piece of you.
I like this is great. I mean, I enjoy talking to you because I feel like you while you're like your background as a therapist and everything, like there's so much here like that I think is so much more body based than I would have expected,
Mhm.
And I think
Yeah.
like I get the privilege of talking to a lot of people who spend their time uplifting people, whether they're coaches, consultants, they're in the help industry and impact
Yep.
industry. And there's a way that you talk about things where I'm like, oh, Brittany has a unique set of tools, you know? And those tools are not like, uh, how do I say it? It feels like they have been. accumulated through experience as opposed to
Hmm.
be passed down through like, organizations. It's like, no, no, no,
Yeah.
like here. And that feels
That's
really real
actually
to
my
me.
superpower. That
No,
is, and I own that now. And I used to not
yeah,
own that. I used to
yep,
be that used to be one of the things I ran from. But that is my
yeah,
superpower. I could sit here and do all of the technical clinical terms with you. I can do that jargon all day long.
yeah,
But the one thing I learned very early in my career was talking like that only gets me in front of the people who already know that language.
yeah,
It doesn't do anything for the people who are actually experiencing the pain that I'm trying to help them heal from.
yes,
So
yes,
I have mastered, and it wasn't even because I practiced doing it. That was the authentic me that showed up. When I said
yeah,
I showed up and I was unprofessional, it's because I was talking this way as opposed to saying, your nervous system, and we need to make sure that you're tapping in to make sure you're not going into a dorsal shutdown, and we need to make sure that your parasympathetic nerve is being nurtured, and then your sympathetic nerve is you're doing activities for that too. I could do that talk with you all day long, but I just watched your face and body immediately go into dorsal shutdown. You didn't hear half of what I said, right? Because it didn't apply.
And I think that's like I love that. I love that they're like this is it. Like Brittany, I think you have many gifts. I'm glad you know your superpowers, right?
Thank
Even just
you.
the fact that you're like I just want your face and body, right? Like
Hmm.
there's something there where like I told you this a little bit earlier, but I'm like most people don't know. Like one of my best coaching tools is my face and body, like in
Yeah.
many different ways, but they don't see. Right. And what I get
Hmm.
about you is that like you don't just see like you're paying attention in many, many,
Hmm.
many, many, many different ways. And
Yes.
I think that there's coming from, so I don't want to say this, so I'm gonna say it, which is
Say
wild that it's
it.
still happening here, right? So I went to an Ivy League school, right? And I
Uh-huh.
rarely bring it up because like I still haven't figured out how to deal with that. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to be of the people. I'm like, but something gets in my way with the way that I hold it. It's not anyone else, it's the way I hold it.
Yes. Yes.
Um,
I know that
but
well.
yeah, but like there's now I'm mad too because I wanted to say something, then this idea came in my mind, and I was like, I don't want to say that. And then now I started saying that, and
Okay,
I don't
say
remember the
both.
original idea. I don't
Oh,
remember the original
dag.
idea. I don't remember
Dag. I hope
why.
it
I just
comes
like
back to you.
it will just
Well, say the
like
secondary one then, and then let's go from there.
yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but like, and I'm okay with that. Like,
Hmm.
so Outliers is gonna come off a little like disjointed here, but there's reasons for this. Like, we're gonna start wrapping up this conversation really, but like,
Yeah.
I love how this like transpired because it was actually like it was in the realness. Like, y'all,
Hmm.
I'm like, there's the language that we use, right? That's what it
Hmm.
is, right? So like I have been working very hard because I used to talk in a lot of conceptual terms. I would use all the right terms. Like my SAT
Yes.
like words were like spot on, right? It was
Uh-huh.
a bit superfluous. One of my like
There you go.
and
Flex
and
those words.
there we go, right? But I think there's a realness and I think this is where also the honesty came in, like being honest,
Mhm.
being genuine. It's just like, what are you trying to say? And
Yeah.
and like nowadays, I get rewarded. People are like, wow, you made it so simple. I'm like, I just actually just told the truth of what it was to me, and
Yeah.
like, but I had to learn that, like you can see over the years where I think maybe it might have been kids. So I'm just like, I'm too tired to like talk
Right.
around this thing. Like here goes, here
Let me
goes,
just
here
go
goes the
straight
real.
to
Like
it.
this is it.
Yes.
Like you in with it or
Kids
not?
will make you do that because they're
Yeah.
gonna ask you a million questions.
Yep. You got
You
to
could
get
have
down
just
to it.
said, no, the sky is blue today and
Yep.
been done with it.
I've been
Like,
done. Been
yeah.
done.
Keep it
Um,
simple.
Brittany, I appreciate this conversation, like and outliers. Like I hope like this serves as more than just a reminder, but also a call to do one to play into your own authenticity, but also to like pay attention to your body and see like what's there and to like nourish it in the ways that go beyond just the food that's going in or like
Yeah.
like like there's something your body's telling you things. And Brittany,
Hmm.
I'm appreciative that you're able to see this and pull it in. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to ask any outlier out here, like if you're listening to this, please go out and share this out with your world. Let them know that this is happening, this conversation happened. That would mean a lot. But what would mean the world to me is if you actually thought about one person in your life who would really benefit from this hearing this conversation. And I have this deep-seated belief that like the one person, one conversation at a time initiative is where this will actually go off into the world and and do the work it's supposed to be. Like the person that needs to hear the conversation that Brittany and I are just having. Like invite them to be a part of this and give and send this message to them as a gift. Send this email, this episode to them as a gift to them, because let them know you're thinking of them. All right, that would mean the absolute world to me. So, Brittany, as we wrap up for today, I have two questions for you. The first question is, how can outliers go deeper down the journey with you?
Yeah, definitely. So you all can follow me. It is Brittany A. Johnson on all socials. And then you also can feel free to email if you just need to know a little bit more about your body and you want just something quick. Send me an email and I'll shoot you over my quick little guide of testing out your body and finding your body signs because I think it's all needed.
Thank you so much, Brittany. And
Thank
then
you.
the last question I ask everyone here, right? We're going to put outliers to the side. They've gotten what they need to get from today's conversation. But the only reason I have conversations is to change the world. Right? So I'm
Mhm.
interested in right now, if you wouldn't mind sharing, in what ways have your world changed as a result of this? What's an insight or a takeaway that you got, if any? If nothing's changed, and like you don't have to make something up.
I think the thing that I've got multiple things from today, so thank you. I was really worried I wasn't going to make it back in time, so I'm so glad I did, and we got to have this conversation. So thank you. But one of the things that I got is that more of the world just needs to know about being authentic and about how to start doing that slow and steady, so that you can level up and reach whatever level it is that you want. Because everybody's not chasing eight figures, right? Some of us are, but everybody's not. But let's be able to maintain the balance while you're leveling up.
Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for bringing this back to my like forefront. It's giving me a chance to be
Yeah.
able to see it again with intention.
Thank you.
Outliers. Until the next time we talk, be you on purpose. Journey on.